Alright, so today class we're going to learn how to write a hypothesis. So a hypothesis you use when conducting a scientific experiment, and for each experiment you have a question that you're trying to answer. And that hypothesis is your best guess as to what the answer to that question will be. So there are four main parts of a hypothesis to remember. First, a hypothesis is a statement. That means that it has a period at the end rather than a question mark. So even though you want to be addressing the question, you want to make sure that it's a statement and an answer to that question, your prediction for the outcomes, not the question itself. The second part is it's an educated guess. This means before you start the experiment, you need to do research on your topic so that you can make a guess that is educated based upon the research that you've done. Not just a random guess that could be 50-50 or up in the air. Also, it's a guess, meaning that you want to make your hypothesis before you start the experiment, not afterwards after you've seen the data and the outcome. The third part is it's testable. And this is probably the trickiest part. For it to be testable, the variables that you are experimenting on need to be measurable. So things like mass, change in temperature, any change in a distance are all measurable, whereas other elements might not be. Can you guys give me some examples of things that are measurable in addition to what I mentioned? Weight, good.
The amount of water in a beaker.
The amount of water in a beaker, perfect, or volume. The fourth element is it has to be an if-then statement. So you don't actually have to use the words if-then, however, it has to be set up in that format, meaning if you do this, then this will occur. So in the if-then statement, it's if, then a blank, a comma, then blank. In the first blank, you include the independent variable, or the variable that you will be changing. In the second blank, you mention the dependent variable, or the variable that you will observe the change with. So an example is, if I open the window, then the temperature in the room will decrease. So the dependent variable being mentioned is the change in how much the window is open, which is measurable. The dependent variable is the temperature in the room, which is also measurable. Can you guys think of any examples of an if-then statement that works as a hypothesis? Robin?
If you turn up the heat under a pot of water, then the temperature of the water will increase.
Good. So both turning up the heat under the water, so measuring the temperature in the surroundings, and measuring the temperature of the water are both measurable, and one is a cause and one's an effect. And also that's a guess based off of your experience, making it an educated guess. So good job. So an example of if-then statement, or an example of a statement that wouldn't work as a hypothesis is our universe is surrounded by another larger universe with which we can have absolutely no contact. Can you guys figure out why this does not work as a hypothesis? Maria?
You're not changing anything.
Exactly. So you aren't having a cause and effect. Can you think of another reason?
It's not testable.
Exactly. So you can't measure whether or not there's another universe out there. Now I made a little song to help you guys remember it. And it's called Prove It Maybe. You have the lyrics in front of you. It's to the tune of Call Me Maybe. Hey, I just saw you, and this is crazy, but here's my hypothesis, so prove it maybe. It's easy to test. Test it maybe, but here's my hypothesis, so prove it maybe. You took two variables, I made them testable, just an educated guess, but now it's my mess. It's an and then just fill in the blanks. Don't forget the period, and you're on your way. Your guess was holding, beakers, measure showing, hot plates, water boiling. What do you think you're proving, baby? Hey, I just saw you, and this is crazy, but here's my hypothesis, so prove it maybe. It's easy to test. Test it, baby, but here's my hypothesis,
So prove it,